And I think it puts that transcript in there too. All right. All right. Let's do this. So let me go back to the guide first. We'll talk about the documents. The PM2 guide is the same one that's available on the PET site. When you get the invite to the class, you go to the first link. It's going to bring you to a flank speed page where you can download the document for any of the classes. So you come here and you come down here and you could download it. All right. This is a diagram I'm going to bring up. Here's the guide, and here's the Maximo user guide, right? Which is here, right? Which is one time I drop it down to your desktop so you have it. All right. And now I'm going to go to the basic PET guide first. All right. So we're going to go down here in the table of contents. And we're going to talk about route-based PMs. I'm going to pull up that document here. I got to go to PM2, sorry. All right, route-based PMs, right? If you took the job plans and routes class, I kind of just touched quickly on the routes application. We're going to create two types of routes that we can use. One utilizes child work orders. And when you look at the route application, let me get this down here. I'm going to log in. I'm going to just pull one up. I'll just show you those examples, what they look like. Also, these are different type routes. And I'm going to select Mid-Atlantic for the demonstration purposes. And we'll just pull up one of these here. Just to show you a couple examples, then we're going to see how they are created, what the differences are, and what difference will it make to the work orders itself. It says inactive. I don't really care about that. I just want to see something. Right, they already changed it. So this is obviously all right. Child work orders. So I'm going to bounce back to that diagram. The top diagram shows us what happens when we select child work order routes, allow us to assign separate job plans to each one of these route stops, right? Which in turn generates a separate work order for each one because each work order can only accommodate one job plan. All right. So if I have different assets on this route and I need different tasks for each one, I'm going to create child work order type route. Here's the route number. It's assigned to the PM instead of the asset number. And then the PM generates a parent work order along with as many child work orders as we have route stops. So I'm going to bounce back to the application. Here's how you make the choice. Child work orders. Come down here. It has different assets. Although it looks like we have 3 pumps that are same, then we have a sump pump. It's a different job plan. So in this case, I'm using the same job plan on these 3. I get to this one, I have a different job plan. When we create these child work order routes, there are different fields required, not just the asset number. All right, so let's kind of walk through these for the child work order route. You have the job plan. You also have the additional hours. And just like the additional hours we looked at when we started the class, these additional hours are assigned to this job plan. So we're adding 6 minutes to whatever the labor is on this job plan. Let's go look. So here we have machinist, supposedly for 42 minutes. Now it's what, 48 minutes, right? We added 6. So each one of those route stops looks like we are adding 6 minutes to it, right? So 48, 48, 48, same job plan. And we get to this one. It's going to also assign this job plan to this pump as well. And then it's an hour at the end. Okay. So for a child work order route where we assign the job plan to the route stop itself, we also include or not include additional hours, right? So this work order has the asset number, its job plan, and the additional hours, right? So I'm going to go back to, let me pull up the, oh, I had it in here, but I guess not. This document here. All right. And this is what I kind of use to determine the data elements for a specific type of PM. So 2 and 3, we're talking about routes. So if you look here, right, we have slightly different applications for 2 or 3. All right. So for labor hours, everything's on the route stop, right? When it comes to turnaround time, however, right, we're still looking at these 2 fields. So for our route that we're looking at here, we have labor, right? And we have the asset, we have the what. What we don't know is how much time are we authorizing the shop to do the work. Now, before I leave this site, I'm going to look here at these job plans. I'm going to look at the duration, right? 30 days for this one. And 30 for this one, okay? So ideally, you would think, program-wise, that if I don't have anything on this PM here, right? Well, there it is right there. It's going to utilize this value here, all right? Now, notice the job plan duration. Well, do we really need a job plan on the PM? I mean, we have a job plan on each one of those route stops. What does this tell us? Well, this job plan is actually just used to set the turnaround time to 30 days, all right? If I took this out, let's just go look and see what it says. It basically has 30, and it just says complete all work, validate the sequencing, return, and we're done. Notice, no labor, right? It's simply here saying the trade I need is machinist, and the duration of this task should be 30 days. Now, if I took that out of here, it wouldn't matter because this is populated, right? It's going to be 30 days assigned to each one of those work orders. So for child work order routes, the turnaround time is dictated from the PM record, right? Whether I use this or that one stays in there, all right? Now, just again, because we like to demonstrate stuff in this class, if I change this to 20, it's going to only allow 20 days, right? Regardless of what's on those job plans on the route stop. Exit programmatically for child work order routes, the job plans that are assigned to the route stop do nothing to determine the time. All right. So I don't care what it is. It could have been 100, 60 days, 20, it doesn't matter. This PM record is dictating the turnaround time for child work order routes. So we need this. I don't like calling it a dummy job plan, but basically this is a job plan simply to determine the duration. Or I set the time in here. If you've been through some of my other classes for PMs, it's basically they keep discussing the fact that this field functionality may one day just disappear. Right? They just keep talking about, oh, we're going to deprogram this. They never have enough money or time to get around to it, just like a lot of our other work, right? At buildings and such. It's something they want to do, they just can never get to it. But in preparation of that, you can see they basically backed it up, right? This is backed up. It's a redundant uh, calculation here, but they're prepared. If they've done this already, I don't know why they just take this out, all right? And it'll work. It'll be 30 days, all right? So this is still in play. So if I put a different number in here, it will trump that one, all right? Back to our route. All right, so back to, we have chat. Let me see if it's a question. Sorry. Okay. All right. So now let's look. I'm going to generate work orders from this route. It's going to generate one work order for each of these pumps. And I'm going to come down here now. We're going to look at these fields. Here's the job plan. Here's our additional hours. This is not used as a default field here. Maybe one day they might use it. Here is the sequence number. This is the order in which the work orders will show up in this hierarchy. Okay. Now, you say, well, what's the big deal? Well, if I have a handheld, I'm going to scroll through one at a time. I'd like to see them in the right order. So if I walk the building, right, I'm not going to the roof and then back to the basement, then back to the roof. And I'd have to look at those. So let's just look at this asset, first one. All right, so it says additional location, the back of the building, mechanical room P1. All right, I go to the next one. Back of the building, mechanical room P3. All right, P4, right, back of building P4. So we're all in the back of the building, we're walking through each of these rooms, and this one doesn't tell me which one, but I still got to find it, so it's back there somewhere. All right, okay. Reasonable, they're all in the back of the building. Again, the sequence numbers, these can be in sets of, this is what I recommend, 5. And why is that? The later, if someone adds an asset, you got to put on this route, you'd have to renumber these. And when it's just, 4 is no big deal, but if there's 10 or 15, you got to go through and renumber all these like I did. So look, that's the sequence. It didn't change, right? Like the PM, you could only place an asset or a location, not both, right? And it tells us where this is. Reads it, you can't edit it. It's from that asset number. So if I try to put a location here, it's going to blank out the asset number, right? So this is what we're going to PM. You can have, in this case, a separate GL account because we have a separate work order, right? If I needed different funding for each of these, I could place it in here. However, if it's blank, it's going to use whatever is on that PM. Right? The PM is going to populate these fields because that's the PM's job, is to make sure we get enough information for the work order. And in fact, if I took the job plans out here, it would look to the PM for a job plan. Right? But in this case, there are three populated, and then I have one different one. Work order description. This description is going to be placed on the work order, obviously, right? But at first, I'm going to copy this on a spreadsheet, on a notepad here. When I put the job plan in here, it populates the work order description with the job plan description. So I take this out. Put it back in. It goes up here. It's here, but it places it up here. You then have the option to put whatever you want in there. Okay. And you save it. So that's what's going to be on the work order. So if I go to the one up, right, they look the same. I go here. And see, this one wasn't changed, but this looks like the original right here. So now I can change this too. I just make this stuff up, right? I put that in there, save it. All right. So I spent a little more time on this route stop, right? I got the job plan, I have additional hours, I got the asset description, and then I go back to the PM. What do I have on the PM that's necessary is the turnaround time, right? I need that. So when I come back to the PM, I got to make sure I either have a reasonable job plan here just to set the duration, or I come down here and put a number in, right? So just so we know, I'll put 20 in here. I'm going to generate this work package, all right? And we're going to create one or two ourselves, but you can see here, everything else is basically the same as a single asset. I have my product and service, my geo account, right? Work type, subtype, everything that we went through in the first one applies to these work orders, right? All this information is going on every one of those work orders, except the asset number will be different than the job plan, right? So we can come down here and look at our frequencies, semi-annual, and I'm going to set this date to the 19th is today, right? We'll go to the 26th. All right, save it. All right, this is active PM. I'm in the training site, and here's our PM number. So I'll have to look for it later. All right, so you get the basic PM, you could duplicate it, and then over here, you're going to go, it's not an asset, it's a route. But notice, here I can have a location. Not only can I have one, you kind of need one for creating this hierarchy. These work orders have a location based on the asset that's assigned. This work order does not know what location to put on it. It doesn't grab it from any of the route stops. It needs information from this PM to put the location on this work order so the text or someone knows where this work order is assigned to. And so the PM, you need a location. All right, here. Add the what? Here's my location. Here's my job plan that sets this time. But remember, in our case, this thing at this point was not going to do anything because it'll have those tasks, right? Check your the paperwork, etc. Make sure the sequence is right. The technician then can come back and say, hey, can you move these, two assets back and forth, whatever, change the sequence, and the PM tech would update the PM. However, everything else is the same. All right. Okay. So now let's look at the other one, multi-asset route. Let me see what this is. Sorry. Okay. All right. Let me go back here and we'll look for the multi-asset route. And I just want to see something. I'll look at additional hours. Let's look at this one. All right. Here's our route. Here's our location. All right. Oh, I can't believe that. Really? Unbelievable. One I pick. That's a lot. There's the utilities one. Let's look at this one. All right, perfect. All right. 10-year. Wow. Okay. I don't think it matters. Let's just look at it. All right. So again, let's look here, right? What do we have? We have 90 days here on this job plan, which exceeds the limit, right? If I look in the P503, I'm gonna keep, this is the preventive maintenance plan maintenance guide, right? I'm gonna show you, if you come here, the maximum amount of time for annual is 60 days. If this is a 10-year PM, let's make sure it's right. I can't do it. I can't do 10 years, sorry. Just, I can't handle it, sorry. I'm looking for this another Oceania one. God, what the? I give up. 5 years. Oh, 10 years. Everything's 5, 10, 2. Going back to facilities. All right. Annual. Let's make sure we got annual, right? And this one's going to be due same time. All right. Now we have the route, right? We have a location. Same reason. Go back to the little pictures. This work order, we have one single work order now. The multi-asset route really pertains to the ability of the work order to handle multiple assets. So I have one work order, multiple assets. How many job plans can I have? Well, one. I have one work order. All right, so now the ability to put job plans on the route stops is gone. The only place I can put it is on the PM, which would ideally mean you could only place one job plan and all these assets need to be able to utilize that job plan. So typically we put the same assets on this route. Right. So if I go here, I have 6 energy recovery wheels, right? No additional hours here. Once we build this type of route, it's like one big asset, right? They're all the same. However, we should have a sequence here, right? So the only thing really applies to a multi-asset route is we would have a sequence place the assets in here, and you're done. You go back to the PM. So let's just, for argument's sake, let's take a look at these. All right, above the woman's locker room, right, serves the women's room. The additional location. So I come down here, above the men's room, right? Okay. Where's this one? So now we're going to the roof, see? And it says it's ERV number 4. Now I'm on the roof. Okay, that's good. I like it. I hope we stay on the roof. Roof, okay. And roof. Okay. So you get in the building, go to the women's room, men's room, then up to the roof. All right. So these are legitimate. However, again, I would place these in here just later on, and you can make sure. All right, I'm gonna save this. All right, so the sequence is right. It was right the way it was put in. Actually, it was by the asset number. See that? If you sort it by that, it's the same as the sequence number. All right, it's weird. All right, so nothing else here. How many do we have? 6. Multi-asset routes. Place the assets on here. Sequence. Save it. Go back to the PM. Now I'm gonna go back to my little drawing. All right. Multi-asset is type 2. So again, still have the target completion and the job plan, determine the turnaround time. But labor is right here, just like a single asset, right? What's the difference? Well, I have 6 assets now, right? Here. The job plan contains labor for 1 asset, all right? Here's the task, and it says I need a refrigeration, air conditioning technician for 2 hours, right? For 1 asset, all right? And he or she is already at the building, see? And so, we go back here. Turnaround time on our job plan is 1440, which is 60 days. Again, redundant, right? If it's truly an annual, and it is, then I don't need that, right? I'm just saying, I don't need it. It's not doing anything. And my job plan has the right number of hours, represents 60. The labor is 2 hours, right? But I have 6 assets. Here's the twist with multi-asset. You have to calculate the labor for your entire route, right? So if I have 6 assets, the job plan takes care of 1, leaves me with 5. 5 times 2 is 10, right? So I got 10 here plus 2. I'm going to get 12 hours on my work order, right? Not work orders now. I got 1 work order. It's going to be 12 hours, right? 12 hours means I got to get to the job site like 2 days, right? I got to leave the office, the shop, and go to the building and come back. And then the next time I'll go back again. So here, the minimum number of hours you put in here, right, counts for the labor, right? Pure labor. Well, then you got to consider non-labor time. Just like we did on the single asset PM, I've got to get to the work site. So I can start here, right? It gives me the labor, 10 plus 2 is 12. But now I need to add travel. So I'm thinking we got to do 1 day at least. Well, so I'm going to add another hour. So I'm going to just make that 11. All right. That's the compensation. So the minimum amount of time you put here just is a labor calculation. Look at this number was manually placed in here. It doesn't come over from the route. So you can believe it or I would periodically check because it's not connected. If someone takes an asset off that route, it doesn't change it to 5 on the PM. So we have 6 assets. Then I know I have to calculate the labor for 5, right? And put up here, and then add my non-tool time. So now I'm going to have 11 plus 2, 13 hours on this work order. Everything else is the same. So every time you see a route-based PM with additional hours here, I would assume it's a multi-asset. The top child work order method, really any additional hours that's placed on this PM only gets put on this work order. All the additional hours come from these route stops to these work orders. The bottom method, almost everything comes from the PM, the job plan, the additional hours, the turnaround time. It's just calculating those additional hours to make sure we have enough labor to take care of our entire route, right? So building the route for multi-asset is just that. Take all the assets you want, put them on the route, put them in the order that you want them, save it, come over here, and then make sure your PM has enough time and turnaround time for the work, all right? So it's more like, to me, it's like a single asset in every case, except that you have to calculate that labor, and this is critical, the additional hours. All right, let's take a look at our PM here. All right, so we got this one, and I'm not going to put anything here. We're going to let this go as is. It's going to generate a work order. It'll have the 6 assets listed, and we'll have 13 hours. And I believe, let me get this PM number. Except this one, I think I put the wrong date on here or something. All right, that's what's weird. Wait, why does it do that? Oh, I can't change that. My bad. Yeah, I thought that was the wrong year. All right, so most of these PMs now are due on the 25th of September, next Monday. All right, leave that there. All right, so those were examples. I'm going to go to the guide now, and I'm going to look at a different way to use child work order routes. All right, now I could use them with different assets. That's what we looked at, right? Each of the route stops had different job plans. In this case here, if I put the same type assets on a route and select child work orders, right? Go back to my little picture here, and all these are the same, kind of like the bottom. If I put all the same assets on a route and I select child work orders, I can push the job plan from the PM. All right. We're going to see this when we get to PM3. For sequencing, this is going to become usable, right? But in some cases, previous versions of Maximo, they didn't have this multi-asset feature. So when we built routes with the same asset type, we were using child work order routes. And in some cases, it stayed that way. If I go here, and I think if I go to Southwest, they used a lot. All right, so I'm going to go. All right, they only have 2, but if you notice, there's no job plans here. I mean, you could put them in here because we selected that, but they didn't. If I go back to the PM, this job plan is getting pushed to each one of those work orders, just like the GL account does. Right. What's the benefit of that? Well, if I need to have a job plan assigned to each one of my assets, let's say to take critical readings or something, and each of the assets needs a job plan so I can record it, well, that makes sense, right? I'm going to push this job plan to each one of these backflow preventers. And in some cases, it just makes sense. Let's just check another one. And you may run across this. And it's just a way to kind of make sure you understand the different capabilities, right? Oh, I don't want to do that. All right, so now I have 5, right? And in this case, this job plan is really for the entire fire system, right? In this case, I have different assets, right? But the job plan addresses each type of asset. So people are creative, right? So this one's like for a whole, let's check this out. It's probably don't see anything. 22. So it says schedule test, schedule, visually inspect. Let's just let's come down here on this report. We're going to read it. So if I can use one job plan for all the assets on the route, I could do it. So here, remove batteries, clean and lubricate connectors, connect batteries, check operation of. So they have different assets in here doing the valve. So certain steps pertain to certain assets, right? It's kind of confusing, right? But it's on one route. Person goes to the building, he or she is now dealing with the entire fire protection system, right? So I can have the same assets. I can have assets that can utilize the same job plan. I can also, let's find a different one here. I'm winging it. You can see Southeast, they like them because they're all over the place. All right. So different uses of the same type of route, and this one here only have one, which is you don't need a route. You have one asset. All right. So you got to pay attention. If I delete it to one, I don't need a route-based PM. I can just do a single asset. And one more shot. All right. It's a little out of control when you have just two. I mean, what's the point? All right. But understand, so we know you can build a route for basically anything you want. It just depends on how you apply either child work order or multi-asset. If I go into mechanical room and start placing all the assets on my route, there is constraints you need to be considering right here. All right. I was adamant about location, at least when I started training. Some people, hey, if I want to do something on a route, let's say meters, they're at different buildings. I want to do pest control. You're right. So locations are not critical, but if you're doing a bunch of air handlers, leave them at the same location. The technician will have that building on the work order. Job order number or GL account. For multi-asset, you only get one. All right. The rest apply to each type of route. You can't send work orders to different work centers. You got one work center on that PM. They're all going to the same place. And they should be assigned to the same capable trade, right? That person is going to get that work package. You don't split the work package up. In that case, you might as well have separate PMs. And obviously the frequency and the dates they are delivered, they have to be the same. So you have to look at your inventory, determine if it fits, and then build a route if possible. right? So I think you get to a point where you start looking at your building, and what I'll do now is this. I'm gonna go to, if you were fortunate enough to take the the assets class, you remember the report that shows you the status in your building, which was the inventory validate. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna run this report. And it was NAVFAC, ICAP. You run this inventory validate report, and I'm going to go to, this is the actual, I think, NAVFAC Atlantic's office building in Norfolk. Right, so we're going to hit it. Now, what this report does is show you our inventory, right? It also includes whether or not the assets are on PMs, active PMs in maximum. The column says yes or Y, it is, and no, it isn't, or RY, it is, but it's on a route, right? So if I look here, and I start coming down here, right? So we see these split systems, right? All right. If you look over here, they're all on a route, okay? The condensing unit, well, I got the chiller is on a route PM by itself, right? These condensing units are not on PM at all, okay? Come down here, these air handlers on a route. Again, a condensing unit is not. These split systems are, right? Are. All these are on a route, and I get this one little guy in here. Well, he's out of service. So it's a good way to look and see how your building is set up for planned maintenance, right? It also tells you that, wait a minute, I got this one. These are no because they're deactivated, right? So you can look over here at the status. All these are no, or, and you can determine if I have to get something on PM. I look here, all right, and it says not in use, so they're not putting them on PM. All right, so it's well documented. Here's the information about our PMs. These transformers are facilities. Wow, it's a lot. They're not on PM. All right, so I can look and see, and if we'll do a different building. All right, that one looks. Go to, I think this is the Public Works building. All right, so you now, once you inherit the PM program or whatever, right, you also inherit what's already out there. So if I'm a facilities preventive maintenance tech here, I'm concerned with my RIPI or both assets and if they're on PM, right, and if they're operating. So I look again, looks pretty complete, and I can be comfortable that, okay, they're on there. Now, question, right? Looking like they're using route-based PMs. These are all the same asset, right? So let's take a look. Take an asset number here. Oh gosh. All right, copy it. I go here. Now, I have two ways to find out about this asset. I go here, and I can look at history, right? The history tab is going to show me all the work orders. And PMs if they're directly assigned. If this asset is on a route, which we see that it is, it's going to give me the work order and the PM number I need to go to, and you look and see how the PM is set up. So you see all these are here, right? There's not going to be a PM because it's on a route actually. And for some reason, there was a routes. Tab here. I don't know why they took it off, but So now I have to go back here. I look at this PM, and it was in July. Open it up and come down here. Here's my PM number, right? So I'm tracking back from the asset to the PM. Here's the route. I look, and it says, okay, there's 46 heat pumps on this route, right? Multi-asset. You go here, and remember, see that number? It's different, right? So someone took one off. I'm just going to go back here and recheck. Well, that's the job plan, sorry. And the job plan is 42 minutes. Okay, this is a good one to remember. 42 minutes. And I have 46 assets, right? Not 47. So let me come back here and just for our purposes, change it to 46. All right. From what we know, right? I already forgot. Was it 42? I got too many 40s. 46, 42, 42. Okay, 42 minutes. All right, 42 minutes. I got 46 assets. Job plan takes care of one. So that leaves me with 45 assets times 42 minutes. All right. 45 assets times 42 minutes. 1,890 minutes. I don't profess. I'm just going to put it in here. All right. 1,890. It's going to change it. 31 hours and 30 minutes. Right. Now, remember, I got to travel each day. So that's like 5 times 8, 8 and this, 8 times 5, 8 times 4, about 4 days, right? 4 days. And that's why they have, theirs was 35, right? So this was the minimum. And what was in there was 3518, which is more than this, which would maybe be right, based on the number of assets. So if it's 4 days, an hour apiece, I might add, I'm gonna just make that 5. All right, there you go. And that's just me redoing it. But basically, it looked like there was enough time. But this is a large route, right? I got 46 heat pumps on one work order for basically almost, it's more than 4 days. It's almost 5 days, right? So there you go. Big route. So you just check it. All right. So now we looked at, right? Go back here to the drawing. I've got different types of assets on the child work order route. I get different work orders. Additional hours are pushed from the route stop here. I think it's pretty, I won't say it's easy, but it's basically I'm looking at a rooftop. I'm doing different type of assets. I'm looking at a substation for utilities, a pump station, or below, I'm in a building and I have 46 heat pumps. I put them on one route. I got one work order. I don't need 46 PMs, right? So I can collect inventory together and basically use routes where it makes sense, right? Going back to the guide. All right. PM hierarchies. Now, put put your seatbelt on for a minute because this was brought up as an option. Just like I just said, I went to the substation and I look. I have circuit breakers, right? So I build a PM for circuit breakers. Maybe I use a multi-asset type route. Transformers. Well, I have two. I make single asset PMs. And I have switches. I make multi-asset. Now I have 3 PMs that take care of that substation, and I want to just put them together, right? So this PM hierarchy is a way to relate PMs that are already built, right? Not assets, not work orders, but actually PMs. So if I here was single asset, and this is a route-based PM. It's a way to collect PMs, all right? When it generates, however, it generates it in the same format as the child work order. Each PM will have a set of work orders subordinate to this parent. Okay? So I think the easiest way, is to first of all encourage you that it's rarely used because once you've set up your once they set up that schedule, it it will be safer to just leave the PMs as they are. So I'm going to go in here, and I think I'm in Midland. I'm going to go somewhere else though. I'm going to go to Southeast. All right. And I'm going to search for a PM hierarchy. The PM hierarchy has a parent. There's a parent field on the PM. That dictates which is the parent PM in this case. All right. So I'm going to go in here and notice the parent field it is not on this search screen. All right. So first I'm going to look for active PMs. All right. I'm in Southeast here and I hit find. And I'm going to start whittling down these PMs. But basically, I have 18,000 active PMs. And that includes transportation too. So now I come in here and I see some are route-based, right? Some are asset-based. So and in this case, I don't care. I'm trying to look at PM hierarchy. Come on. Shoot. All right, so I'm going to go back to the search. Well, I say I don't have the parent field. So now, when you use the more search fields, this brings up the fields on that uh, template that they allow you to search. Here opens up this statement. It says, give me active PMs for Southeast. And I say, and parent is not, no. That means there is a parent PM in one of these records. So let's see what we get. Now we got 30 of these. All right, so now I'm going to go here. And I'm going to use this tab. When I go to this tab, it shows me the parent. So just like work orders or assets or location hierarchy, I'm going to move up to this one. All right. Now I'm at the parent field. Now I go to PM hierarchy. And there's only one PM in here. So I have one PM driving this PM. It's kind of useless. All right. I'm going to go back to the list, which kind of tells me in some cases they just stop using it. All right. Let's look at this one. And we'll do the same thing here. All right, so now we have two. Let's just take a look at this. This PM is the parent to these two. All right, so let's be careful. Let's look at this one first. And this one is a 4-year PM for, it looks like a route, transformers. Let's go check it out. So I got multi-asset, 3 transformers, right? And let's evaluate this one. It has additional hours to handle the other 2 assets, right? But it's also the parent to these 2. So this PM as a parent also has this flag checked over here. Use this PM to trigger PM hierarchy. So whenever this one's due, it's going to drive the other 2, right? So I'm going to go back to this PM hierarchy, all right? So these 2 PMs are basically slaves to this one. Also, if I go to this one, which it looks like they're both 4 years, right? I'm going to jump to this one. This is a single asset PM, all right? Every time I touch, yeah, all right. don't know what this is. It looks like a switch or something. Uh, it's weird. It never tells you what it is, isn't it? I mean, you have all this info here, but it doesn't tell me what the acid is. So I'm going to go to this PM. Now, before I leave, notice the date on this one is June 4th, 2026. I go to this one. It's also 4 years, and it's the same date, right? And it's also flagged that you can change it. But you notice, you see how it's now I can edit it? That's because it's a child to the parent. And it says, you know what? I don't want this one to flag to generate work orders. If I had a PM in here that was by accident annual and that box was checked, it would generate a work order every year, even though the other ones aren't due for 4 years. So the safest thing is if you ever dive into PM hierarchies when the child's created, just do that, just for safety purposes. Oh, I can't do it. Won't let me do it for some reason. I don't know where that error came up. Let me see something. Sometimes it'll show you. It won't let me change it. Huh. So all the PMs in the hierarchy can generate. So another thing to do is this: just take this data out. All right. Then it's always going to use the parent to generate all the work. As long as all the PMs in the hierarchy, again, they have to have the same frequency. It's the same rules as the routes, but it's basically going to generate a series of PMs will generate work orders that get uh, connected in this fashion. So you have the parent, then you would have children. Person would use the work package and handle each of the assets and locations on the PM, right? So some cases it's not it's not being readily used, but it would almost make sense where you had a substation, you can put everything in here, a pump station, shut down the substation, all the PMs would be generate and the person could go do all the work. You can't if you put every one of those assets on a route, it would be a child work order route, and you almost do the same thing, right? But here you could have a multi-asset work order, single asset, right? You could kind of condense the work orders for PM hierarchy. All right, so I'm going to go back to the guide here. All right, we've done single. We're going to create a couple more PMs and put them together and generate them. All right. So we looked at ones that already existed. Now we're going to create a couple of the different ones. All right, and so let's stay here. I'm in Southeast again. Let me pull up. I got to get PM to copy. All right, so let's do this. Active PMs. Let's do some more queries. I come in here. I want something for HVAC. I put D30. So I want active PMs for HVAC. And I could put, this is the location on the PM. This is the asset location. What? Are you serious? What did I do wrong? All right, let me see what's in here. Something weird. Yeah, okay. So see, it didn't, when I updated this one, it didn't. So what I'm gonna do is this. Take this out. Now I'm really getting ticked. It never erases it. So here's what I'll do. Well, you keep getting, just re-enter, and now it just says nothing. All right. So we want active. All right. Now you notice if I keep going all the way out here, I have information, but I want this master system, the HVAC. All right, so now it's going to come up. Now I have route-based and I have asset-based, right? And I don't care. I'm just looking for a PM to copy. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to duplicate this PM because I'm going to hijack the GL account and we're going to go for it. So I'm going to duplicate this one. All right. And we're going to build child work order route. Okay. Now I don't need it. I don't have the asset, right? And I don't have this situated. So now take this out, take that out. All right. I have to build child work order route, right? And um, for the ease of this, I'm going to use utilities, okay? I'm going to go to the substation. We're going to build a couple of different PMs. Now, I don't have the route. I don't even know where I'm going to do it. So typically you would know when you get here, right? I need to build a route for these PMs. We're going to go hunting now. Now I'm in Southeast. And all right, and I could come here and create a route, right? So first, gives me this route number. I'm going to name it the same thing we just did over there. All right. So first, I need to select this choice, child work order route. Then I can either put one record at a time in there, or I come here to select assets. When you select assets, this is going to bring up a list and let us pick from there. All right. So go here. All right. Now I can't, unless I know a place, right? I can't uh, search quickly. So for me, first I'll do this. I just want utilities assets. All right. I hit, once I do that, I hit enter. And now it's going to limit our list anyway, eventually, hopefully. I don't know what I did. Should do that pretty quick. Go to sleep. What the heck? Okay. 64,000. All right. I don't exactly know a substation and I should be able to come here, right? And select. So I'm going to go here. Actually, you know what? I'm bailing out. I'm going to go to this one first. I'm going to find this asset or location. All right. All right. So here we're going to go utilities, operating. All right. There's a location. All right. I'm going to just put. I'm winging it here. Hopefully I wonder what's going to happen. Not sure. All right, here we go. All right, so we have a pump station, this building, right? So I'm going to use that. Corpus Christi lift station. All right. So now I'm going to go back. Oh, see, I don't have it. So let's go back here, get rid of this one, select assets. Now when you come up here, you filter, go directly to the location. All right, so I got these assets. All right, so just for our purposes, we're going to do a pump, we're going to do a motor, and a control system. All right, we're going to create a child work order route. I'm placing these three assets on my child work order route. So from this type of selection, I can pick, I could actually page through here. We'll see that with the multi-asset, and I hit OK. All right, so I have these three. Now, location-wise, remember, sequence. This one just says it's in the building, in the pump station, in the pump station, in the pump station. So if it's a small building, you walk in, the assets are tagged. I can put a sequence in here, but I don't think it's going to matter because they're all just basically co-located here. Now, my first control system, open this up. Come down here. Now I need to add a job plan. So now I'm on the child work order route. I'm going to save it so we don't lose it yet. And now it's going to lock this number down. But I can come down here. Now I'm searching for the job plan. So you never get away from this because no matter what we're doing, you always got to find the job plan. And here, what do? I have to put my site in because I have to. Typically, I don't think you have to. It might be coming up here. You want active. And for utilities, life is good. I find a control system. All right, so I have them, right? I'm gonna go with the annual here. It has exceeding duration. Why you don't want to use that? I'm gonna use this one. Motor control. It's annual. Has 1440. Right. We look at the job plan. It's an electrician for 16 hours. Right. And I bring it back to my right. So that's a 16-hour PM. And they're going to get to that building. This is the first one they're going to do. So additional hours here. We're going to just add 15 minutes. Save it. We're going to do a centrifugal pump. So I come back here to the control system. Here's my title, right? And I don't have to put that there. Leave that. All right, so I'm doing the hunting, pecking, searching, all on this, on the route stops. It doesn't change. I still got to come in here and active. In this case, I'm looking for a centrifugal pump. All right. We look. oh, there's 15, pump, metering, pump, positive, but yeah, okay, annual here, 2160. All right, so now we see that's out of range, right? And I don't see any other annual, at least listed here, that's going to fit. So if I come to this one, and I have a maintenance mechanic, right? I have an electrician on the other ones. Now, typically, you could see these are different, and wondering if any of them have an electrician. So, okay. So, ideally, I should have the same trade, right? And I should have the right duration. If I want to use these set of tasks in my PWD for electrician, I have to duplicate this, not revise it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is copy that name and I'm going to duplicate it. All right. Put that in there and I'm going to slide my trade in there just so I know. All right. And you can put out here and I can change this now to 1440. Come down here, change this to electrician. 10 hours. All right. All right. So now I have this. Can't use it yet. Change the status to active. Then I have the right task, the right trade, the right duration. All right. Now, remember, the duration don't even matter in this case, but since I want to use this in the future, right, so I'll bring this back. All right. So now I'm already in the pump station. I had 16 hours for that one, 10. I don't need any additional hours on this one. Now we're going to close up. We're going to do the work order, the motor rather. Let me come back up here. Sorry, I always forget this. Take that out. All right, save it. So now I got the pump control system. Now I come to the motor. I do the same thing. I go find the job plan. All right, and of course for me, every time I do this, it's a different site. It's yeah, I got to search for them. Once and if you become adept, you'll know the numbers. You don't have to do this. But for utilities, it's just a little simpler for me to find job plans quick enough. And here is the motor. All right, so we don't have a lot of these now, right? The annual. Again, you got 45 steps, you got 8 hours. We have an electrician, but this is off, right? So remember, the duration is not getting set from the route stop job plans, right? So you know what? I'm just going to use this. This is 8 hours. It has the electrician already applied. And there's that motor, right? Here's that. And we're finishing up. We got to pack up our stuff and get out of there and do the paperwork. So I'm going to add another 15 minutes here. All right. So now we have 3 route stops, 3 separate assets, 3 separate job plans. Little difference in the time. Quite a few hours though. We got like 16. What was that one? 10. This one's 8. Something like that. But basically, pretty large work package, right? I have the job plans here. I have the additional hours here. The route is saved. I now go back, return with value to my PM. All right. Okay. I have labor all included in this route. Well, I don't have any turnaround time. All right. I have two options here. I can just put 60 right there. All right. It's annual. And let me put the right thing. One here. All right. And this one's also going to come out 25th. Cancel. I got to go back to this PM. All right. We still have required fields, right? When we had the asset selected, it populated this and this, right? Well, it didn't do it here. So, um, for my purposes, I don't know the work center, so I'm going to go to the asset. I wonder if I do that, does it tell you? It doesn't tell you the work center, does it? No, obviously not. So if I can go here, and if the date is correct, right? This is going to be the work center. I'm going to copy that back here, go back here. I'm going to drop down here, put it in. All right. Now, in the case of a route, what do we have? We have a control system, but it's all at a lift station. And it looks like it's for, I'm going to go back again. Now, if you look at the unit format, it's M20 master system for utilities. That is sanitary sewer, right? So if I come back here, I'm going to pick the sanitary sewer master system. Industrial water, okay? Come here, industrial waste, distribution, and pump station. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Done. That's not right, right? It's the utilities. The 11. Just because I duplicate it doesn't mean it's right, right? Okay, get rid of these. And I'm gonna steal the, hopefully that's good GL account. All right, remember. All right, so now what am I missing here? I got 60 days. I got money. I don't need this crew in here, but I have the right work center. This is wrong, but you'll see this doesn't mean anything because it's going to take the job plan, the craft from this job plan. Oh, wait a minute, we don't have one. So curious, right? What's going to happen if I leave this with no job plan, right? So this is a training, it's a class, right? So what the hell? Why did that populate? You have any idea? I did not. Oh, somehow these are in there. That's weird. All right. So I don't have a job plan. I don't have a craft to put here. Will it use this value if I leave a job plan blank? Will it let me generate the work order? Well, we're going to find out, you and I. That's what we learn when we do this. All right, let's leave it. Let's see if we get 60 days. Wonder what's going to happen with the craft value. Or I take a job plan and set the 60 days here. Okay. Well, let's just leave this one the way it is. It's in draft. I'm going to activate it. All right. And it's not due until the 25th, first work order, right? Okay. Okay, now we're going to do multi-asset, all right? I'm just going to duplicate this one again. And yeah, don't hold it against me, but I'm just, all right. All right, we get rid of this now, right? Yeah, we don't need that. All right. Well, obviously, For our purposes, let's get rid of this. Okay. All right. All right, we can go build us a multi-asset route. Now in this case, I'll do a building one. And I'm gonna hit insert. I'm gonna select multi-asset. I'm gonna change that. All right. So now we're here. So I'm gonna go select assets. All right. Now notice for some reason, the strangest thing, right? When you hit child work orders and you come down here and hit that, you just get your site. When you hit multi-asset, I've got 2 million. They come from everywhere for some reason. So first thing I need to do is, all right, okay, so we got down to that number. And then I'm going to pick facilities. And I'm just going to pick, I don't know how long that's going to take. So yeah, let me see something. I'm not sure I want to do that. But we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go back here to find us a good building. Unless someone from Southeast give me a building. Is anybody? All right, I'm just going to cheat here. I might have had an example. Probably, okay. All right, so here we go. We got a command staff building. Let's look at this one. Oh, we got a couple air handling units. All right, we're gonna use, oh, they're all deactivated? Really? Look at that. Is the whole building deactivated? Under it. Backflows. All right, condensing unit. All right, we're using this guy. We got a few, so let's do this. I'm gonna use air handlers. All right, 1, 2, and we go to the next page. Hopefully there's another one. Please, please, please. Shoot. I'm running out. It'd be nice if I had one more. Doesn't look good for the home team. All right, so I'm not using those. I only have two of those. Chiller, circulating pump. All right, we're going to use these three. All right, just for condensing unit, air cooled, say okay. I have three assets on the route. I look here, back of building, right? Back of building, I like it. Definitely like it. They're all in the same place. All right. So again, just for consistency's sake, even though they're right there. All right. I don't need to do anything else on the route. I have three assets, right? Saved it, return with value. So immediately come down here, I'm going to put three. Okay. Now, I need to put a location here. I don't know if I did that on the last one, did I? That's not good. This one here is my building. All right. Now, these are all the same, right? So I'm going to pick, you know what? I'll make it easy. I'll just go here. D30, 30, 221. That's the subsystem. You can't do it down there, but you can do it here. D30. All right, then I go this one. All right, now I populate it here again. Pay attention. For me, now it's facilities here and save it. All right, what is required? What was that? Work center. All right, that work center now is what's on these assets. I'm just not, I don't know every work center or every place. So I'm just showing you how you can locate it. This one. So I'm using the data in Maximo, right, to fill out some of these fields. So that's right. I need to fix that other route-based PM. All right, so here, facilities, right? Facilities, yep. Route, yep. 3. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have any turnaround time at all. But for a multi-asset type route, I've got to get the job plan for that condensing unit. And like I said, this becomes a little different for facilities, right? If you recall, the P503 Plan Maintenance Guide has an appendix called the PM frequency sheet. All right. That PM frequency sheet tells us what job plan in the means library we can use for an asset. So I'm going to go 623, this one. And I'm looking for what? A condensing unit, air cooled. Right here. It says that's the job plan family in the means library that applies to the condensing unit. Come here, put my site in, the status active, hit enter, and here they are. All right, so I can use these. And here's an annual. This is a quarterly, so let's do the annual here and select it. And it says my trade is an HVAC technician for 1 hour to perform maintenance on the air condensing unit. So I bring this back to my PM. All right. So now I have a job plan for an hour. I have three assets. This one takes care of one. How many do I have left? Two. Assets times the one is 2 hours. Right? Now, this is a 3 hour, basically 2 plus 1 is 3. I have to get to the site, so I put 2 hours and 30 minutes. That gives me time to get there, leave, pack up my stuff. So the minimum was 2 hours for the labor, added 30 minutes for non-tool time. Right? I have 30 days to complete it. Right? This is an annual, right? Now, what is the annual? What's the allotted time? 60 days, right? Back to the P of 503. The annual, I could have 60 days. This is only giving me 30. Well, you know what? I'm going to give the folks, this is a route base. I'm going to add that to 60. And it's saved. Go back here. The date is the 25th. Save it. Whoops, it's gone. What happened to it? Okay, well, I know what it is. PDT. All right, they better find it. What the heck? No, it's not active. Queries just kind of stick around, when you just make sure you look at that list. All right, here's our PM. Here's our date. Now, our other PM, I just want to check this one. I have the right work center. I have a craft in here, but because we have a job plan, it's going to utilize this craft on the work order. It's going to give us 60 days to complete it, even though the duration is 30 days. Because this is an annual, and I'm allowed to authorize up to 60 days. Here's the work type and subtype. Here's the work center. And there. Now I'm gonna look up that other PM because I think I screwed that up. I'm gonna just try some PDT. All right, again. That. See, I don't have that in there, do I? That's this. All right, so now there's the one we created for today. I think I messed this up. I don't have a location here, right? And because we activated it, I cannot add a location. So for me to fix that, I need to change this to inactive. And now I need to place a location, right? And these are all at the lift station, right? I just don't remember the name of it. There it is. So now I go back to the PM, add my location, all right? And I have a location. This is the one we're going to flight test. We're not going to use a job plan. We'll get 60 days, but we're not sure about what that craft's going to be on the work order. Also, this is a utilities work center. I should have changed this to utilities. The who, the what. I have a location, save it, and reactivate this one. All right. And I did built those two PMs, right? We have a child work order route, a multi-asset route. I'm going to go back to my guide because I think in the guide, it just talks about generation of work orders, right? You remember the autogen, right? The autogen process is set up by work center. If I go here, and because I have the ability to see it, maybe you don't, but you have to ask, oh, autogen is in play for this work center. Now, all I want to do is go back. Why is it? All right, so then I'm going to go to the other one. The multi-asset is this work center. They're both in the AutoGen, right? These are due next Monday. For Southeast, what's the period of time for AutoGen? Well, if you don't remember, I don't remember. So I'm going to go here, look, and if you were Southeast, we go down here to PM options, and Southeast is 14 days, right? It would catch those PMs tonight, and they'd be generated to work orders tomorrow morning. Or we generate both of them, right? So I'm going to just put PDT. All right. And this one here is not due until November, all right? I'm not going to worry about it. And matter of fact, even these three are listed here. When I hit generate work orders, and I say today plus 7, it will cover those two, but not that one, right? So I'm going to hit 7 here, and we'll run these in the background. Now, I don't know if this makes a difference, but I don't think the email even works. Let's let these run. All right. Now remember, when you run them in the background, it drops off the screen and goes to work on these two. And we're going to come back and look at these two. All right. AutoGen. I'm going to log into production. So AutoGen runs every night. If I know my specs window lead time, in this case, Southeast is 14 days, right? All right. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go to PMs. And I wish I can get to this one, right? So this is acceptance. I'm just going to go here to pull that work center off of here for this purpose. I'm going to look at this one in production. Okay. I'm going to go to production, and I am going to search for any PM in my work center here that's due, right? From now until how many days? 14 days out. I shouldn't have any PMs up here, all right? Because they should all be generated. So today plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right. I shouldn't have any active PMs with the date up until October 3rd, even here, because they should all be generated. I'm going to hit fine. This is production now. So how do I monitor AutoGen? Like I maybe had mentioned before, sometimes the FECs get email sent to your Maximo project manager, right? And he or she may send out this error list. I wonder if I have it in here somewhere. Got it somewhere. There. Looks like this. This is a huge email, but it says required GL account. Here's the PM. It's failed. Here's the person. And they send you some email. Maybe they don't. However, all you do is this query. See, I have no records. That means we're cleared. All right. If I were to extend that date just to make sure I'm not crazy, right? I still have none. But this place is wiped slick up through October. So let's make sure what I'm looking at. So I check this query again, and it says, all right, the 30th. So now I'm going to go to November 30th. I'm going to change the month. Wow. There's just no PMs due, period. Are there any PMs for this? Shoot, something's gone crazy. Oh, Lord. I was in the wrong site. Sorry. Let me start over. So I go to the right site. I put in that work center, which was that. That are active. And I can't do the range here. Well, if I go to the advanced search, and it was October 3rd. All right, well, maybe some will come up. All right, see these? Right. These had dates here. I'm more concerned, if I'm looking, sometimes the autogen process catches up the next night. All right, to be honest with you. Sometimes it just never finishes. But see, October 2nd, that should be within the 14 days. Tomorrow, I'm going to come back and check these again. But this one up here, this one's already gone, right? August has come and gone. This PM did not generate. All right. Now, here, you have a GL account, you have a route, you have a job plan. The frequency is set to 3 months. It should have came out August 15th. Now we're almost a month behind. I need to generate this one. And this is production, right? Why did it not generate? I don't know. I don't have the email. So all I can do, honestly, I would just try to generate this thing. It's me. If I don't change this date, it's going to say I should have started August 15th, and it's going to add 30 days, but I'm basically almost stuck because it's going to be due next, it'll be overdue. So this is where the PM technician role comes in. I can roll this now, look at the frequency, and say it's every 3 months, make it due by November 15th, right? This is gone. Or I can try to generate this thing. But I'm not because it's in production. I'm not going to do it. But that's what you would do. You would try to generate this thing if it worked. So the quicker you stay on top of the autogen, right? These October 2nd ones, we still got a ways, right? But you want to make sure that these are going to generate. And that based on my calculation, at least October 2nd should have generated. That's within 14 days from today. But again, you can see they'll catch up. And you come and check them, make sure they get out on the street. All right. Back to ours that we generated, right? Back to our list. If I refetch these and I come over here and look at the dates, oh my gosh, really? I didn't even activate this one. So this didn't generate. Let me see some. All right. Go back to the list. This one generated. Original date was September 25th this year. Now it's moved to next year. The other one, I obviously messed up. Now I'm wondering if I actually got any emails. No. Uh-oh. That. All right, forget that. See, I don't think it's sending me emails. I don't even get it in the junk mail. So the email process and acceptance doesn't work. However, it did attempt to generate it. All right, and this one's already done too. See? So I just said it. It did it. They generated both of them. Let's go look at these work orders, and we'll be good to go. All right. All right, so I knew the PM numbers. I'm now on the work order side. I can search for PMs that were generated from any PM that started with the PDT, which I just put in there. So we're going to do that. So what we have is we have a few. We got this DI one in there, and we have child work order route. Here's a multi-asset, right? The only two we really want to look at are these two. So I hit this and this. All right. So here's the child work order route. Notice it did take the craft from the PM. Remember, we don't have a job plan on here. However, it did add the 30 days or 60 days based on what we put on that completion target. There's 60 days, right? The parent really doesn't need a job plan. You could use one that really just sets that duration. However, if I go to the plans now, we're going to have 3 work orders. Here's the sequence, right? There's a control system, pump, and motor. If I print from the parent, let me go to the next one first. All right. So this is the multi-asset route. Again, now I have a technician, 3 hours and a half, and our work order detail looks like this. Come down, and we have the 3 condensing units out here. All right. Notice it's kind of like, this is weird. It's like backwards. You sort it this way, and when you now come back to this list, since I only have these 2 selected, these are the child work orders for this route. To print, I don't have to print these because if I select the parent work order in a child work order route hierarchy, it will print the entire work package. All right. So printing, you want to select the top level, and I think if you come over here, you notice these 2, they don't have assets assigned. All right. When I print, now I don't know who's printing, who's using Maximal Anywhere, but as far as the printing goes, when you have preventive maintenance work orders, it's the NAVFAC PM work order report. All right. While that's collecting, are there any questions before we take off? All right, well, let this run. We'll take a look at the reports, and here you go. So here's the first one. All right. This is the child work order parent. Go to the next work order. Here's the control system. Here's all the tasks. Go here. Here's the pump. Here's the motor. All right. And here's the DI one, which tells you, hey, go get the DI for the asset. Here's the multi-asset. Looks a little different. It lists the 3 condensing units, tells me where it is, right? And come over here. Here are the tasks. All right. So I have one work order now that has 3.5 hours. I'm doing these 3 condensing units, and I punch them out, and I'm done. So I have one work order. So I could print from here. We'll print the entire work package for the child work order route and the complete multi-asset work order. All right. All right. So We went through the route-based, 2 different types of routes, looked at PM hierarchy quickly. PM3, we're going to look at sequence PMs and how to use forecasting and seasonality, kind of wrap up the different options that are left for preventive maintenance. All right. All right. So again, if there are no questions, I think you look for your survey in your email and reply to the survey, and the certificates will get sent to you. Okay. Have a good day, and thank you for your time. Appreciate it. So look for that email, all right, with the survey. Take care, everybody.